Mike McDaniel apparently will still take the Chargers job if he doesn't get a head coaching job, but he is interviewing in Buffalo. There's rumors that he could still be involved with one of the other jobs. I think it's Vegas, but I could be wrong on that. So it does seem like he only pulled out of the Cleveland job.
Yeah, that's not great for us. Or is it? All right, there's two trains of thought here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, you'd kind of made the suggestion. I want to know if you still believe this after this. Yesterday, you'd made the suggestion that maybe the Browns are being so hyper-focused and zeroed in on what they want that they've just decided maybe McDaniel's not their guy. And maybe they were the ones that, in fact, had told McDaniel, all right, we're done. We got our Final Four. We're good here. Take the OC job. We don't need to hold you up. We have a good direction where we're going and what we're thinking. Do you buy it more into that? Or do you think it's McDaniel just saying the Browns job wasn't good enough?
Okay, I don't think we can throw spite out of the window on this. Because Mike McDaniel, good friends with Kyle Shanahan, 32-point PowerPoint presentation,
right.
All that.
The thing that Albert Breer made us seem like you idiots. Why would you even think he'd consider that job?
So could I say that there couldn't be a spite power play and that he wanted to embarrass the Browns? I can't say that definitively. Mike is also a really smart guy, and doing things like that and trying to embarrass an organization is incredibly dumb.
Also an incredible waste of his time for the first interview.
Yeah, well, exactly.
When you're going for other head coaching jobs. I'm a spite store guy, but I don't know about that.
I think it's most likely that Mike got wind that this is Grant Udinski or Nate Scheelhaase's job to lose or Jim Schwartz's job to lose and said, I can lose out on the Buffalo gig to anybody. And my coaching career isn't going to get dinged on that. I lost out to the Cleveland gig. The optics of losing out on the Cleveland gig, meaning not pulling out before they name another coach, is just not where I need to be. And I think he got wind that he wasn't their first candidate.
Which does make you back the question, why did he get wind of that?
Yeah.
Why was he not the first candidate? Why was he not one of the top guys?
That's not uncommon in coaching searches that there's a perceived favorite. I mean, there were guys in the Baltimore job that hung in there that knew it was
This is me
Minter's job.
telling the Browns are not doing the coaching search right, though, if this is what he's getting wind of because this is their reality. If you're doing this coaching search and you're telling me Udinski is better than McDaniel, I don't believe you. If you're telling me Scheelhaase is better than McDaniel, I don't believe you. The flaw in the coaching search is really kind of showing itself here.
Oh, I would agree on that. You just can't stack them up. Guy that has been on Super Bowl attending staffs, guy that is thought to be a genuine offensive wizard with data to back it up, versus a glorified quarterbacks coach and a guy who's fourth in command in a really good spot in LA.
So he thought he was going to lose this job, and that's why he pulled out. And so if that's true, then clearly he didn't get enough signs that they were taking it seriously.
Yeah,
which makes me back the question, why weren't they taking him seriously?
And in fairness, there could be it could be that the offensive coordinator jobs were starting to dry up. He needed to have an answer on that job, and maybe when he talked to Jim Harbaugh, he said, listen, I think I'm out on the Cleveland thing because I'm not going to get it, but if another job opens up a la Buffalo, I would still like to be able to entertain that. Like that would be another part of this that I think makes a lot of sense, that fits within kind of all the framework of all the stuff that all of us have talked about all week long.
Could have easily also been like, hey, I need an answer. I want to take the OC job for the Chargers. I need an answer. And then Haslam and Andrew Berry were like, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We haven't talked to enough people. We want to talk to Scheelhaase still. We can't talk to him until Monday. But we can't tell you you're going to get the job. And so because of that, he then just said, okay, fine, I'm going to take the OC job.
And let's be fair. Like he could have gone to Jim Harbaugh and said, hey, the only way I'm not coming to San Diego or not coming to LA is if a Buffalo opens up. And well, actually, that job had already opened up, but if I have a real chance at Buffalo. And Jim Harbaugh's a pretty pragmatic guy, probably went, well, let's lock you in here. But yeah, I'm going to give you my good grace here if Buffalo opens up, because you didn't have Josh Allen in Miami. And quite frankly, Josh Allen's a better quarterback than anything Kyle Shanahan's had in his career since Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and he's got a real chance to get the job. I still think it goes to Dable, but he's in the division for a long time. Like, he knows the division. He's got a real chance to get that job.
I do think that I think it's going to be interesting. I guess the thing that I would double back on when it comes to Udinski or McDaniel or any of this, I think McDaniel should have been a much more prolific candidate with where they were. And again, we don't know. And we're trying to be as fair as we can to the Browns in this, because this isn't. I know we want to point this to 2013 and 2014, and I know sometimes it feels like that. the truth is how a lot of these the thoughts on jobs come available is agents and a lot of power players in the league leak a lot of stuff that don't always tell the full picture of the job. So we're definitely to the point of, I think if McDaniel knew he wasn't getting the job before Wednesday, I do not love that. And I also am still concerned that Udinski, who had like a 3-hour Zoom with them on Saturday, made such a case that they just decided then he was the head coach, and that was the thing you were sending out to everyone. So, like, those two things don't necessarily sit square with me, but it's interesting. Like, it makes sense if you took a job and then realized, oh, but Buffalo might be open. Yeah, the Buffalo head coach job, because of Josh Allen, instantly becomes a gotta-have-it kind of job for any head coach, let alone a guy that just had to coach Tua, for God's sake.
And I look at it the same way I look at what happened with Jesse Minter yesterday, where it's like, all right, you got a chance to coach Lamar Jackson. I can't hold that against you. I cannot hold the idea that he wants to coach Josh Allen in a premier job. I can't hold that against him.
Now, would I hope that, let's say you get into this interview with Udinski today, and you don't love what you hear, would I hope that the Browns are of flexible mind and process enough that if they're not going to go to my guy David Shaw, a lot of people loving that name in this town, but if they're not going to go to my guy David Shaw, if they're not going to maybe expand to coaches, maybe we haven't even heard yet from the first round, because it's not like we know literally every single person that was a first-round interview. Pretty much every job in America has a couple candidates that were at least broached, if not first-round interviewed, without it being distinctly reported. So, like, if you're not going to do that, I don't think it'd be the worst thing to do to go, oh, so Mike is still in on Buffalo. He's still in potentially with a Raiders job. Hey, Mike, if they don't already know,
you want to bring him back into the mix?
I don't think it'd be the worst thing to do to go, hey, Mike, what was your sticking point with this job? Because if all it was he didn't think he was getting the job, well, if we promise to take you real seriously, Mike,
we might, yeah.
Come on back.
Sorry, we didn't express that close enough to you. We should have let you know that we were more interested than we were. But I don't know that the Browns really are. I don't. I mean, we've talked about for years how enamored they are with him, but I don't know that that's true. We're enamored with him. I would think they should be enamored with him, but I don't know. We just don't know.
In fairness, the Browns probably have a good idea if they picked up the phone and called Mike McDaniel and said, you sure about that? I'm pretty sure they know whether he would be sure about that or not. But I think from the outside, like, I think the only thing you can really do if you do feel like, well, if it's true that they only had 6 second-round interviews planned and that they were destined to hire somebody from this class, well, you should go in today, even if you're really heavy with Udinski. You do have to keep an open mind that he could not be the guy. And I think that is something that I would expect, given his pedigree, given his temperament, Andrew Berry would be smart enough to kind of have that mindset going into today.
Yeah, the hard part about doing like this job today in particular, and like talking about this, is that we're playing with so many hypotheticals and so many things we just don't know. Because like for myself, all I'm thinking is like, well, I think they're happy with, all right, we know we got Jim Schwartz in the bag, and then we're just going to wait and see if Udinski or Scheelhaase just are awesome. Then great, one of them wins the job, and then we'll let it play out between the two of them. Which one of them can really just blow our socks off and be great at this, right? But it's just, this is how I think of it. It's not necessarily how they think of it. They might have already locked into Udinski. They might have already locked into Scheelhaase. They might be thinking Jim Schwartz has 0 chance, or Jim Schwartz is the guy and everything else is perfunctory. There's so many areas and places that they can take this.
And don't forget, Seattle this weekend, this is a big opportunity with jobs in Vegas amongst other jobs. Like Clint Kubiak is thought to be one of the 2 or 3 finalists for that Vegas job.
Yeah.
If that job doesn't go to Clint Kubiak, maybe he expresses more of a willingness to go beyond a phone call or whatever. Because, again, we don't know if they actually had a Zoom or even, a kind of passing kind of interest in Kubiak. That would be another name that might be thrown back into the hopper if other jobs kind of fall away.
Yeah, what we've seen throughout this cycle in particular, and it's happened years past, but this one in particular, the longer you wait, the more things that become available and the more people that have become available. We saw this obviously in the very beginning. Stefanski was the belle of the ball, and then Harbaugh became available. And then the following week, it's like Stefanski takes the Atlanta job, but all of a sudden, here's the Bills job. And if he hadn't locked that in, who knows? And it's like there's so many things that can always just kind of happen in the NFL, and it seems like something always does.
And I would say the difference between the disastrous 2013 and 2014 searches, I think, is Andrew Berry. Like, this should be, listen, drafting, Incomplete. Free agency, trades, some good, some bad, right? This should be the thing, given, again, I'll say it, like his temperament. This should be something, and serving under the tutelage of the guy who apparently found every good head coach ever, just didn't hire him, and Paul DePodesta. I do think this should be something that Andrew should be a little bit more prepared for than certainly Joe Banner was in 2013 or 2014 and Ray Farmer ever was in any role ever.
Oh, you see, now I'm just trying to think of the history of Andrew Berry, and I'm going back to the Philadelphia days. And again, the guy he thinks the highest of is Howie Roseman. And Howie Roseman hired Nick Sirianni when it wasn't a popular thing to hire Nick Sirianni. It worked out, but that was not a popular thing.
I think it was not a popular thing because he sounded like an idiot in his press conference. That probably put the kibosh on that.
He also wasn't like the most high sought-after guy in that offseason cycle either. And then, yes, he sounded like an absolute goober in that press conference, and it was a long uphill battle from there. But since then, he's been to 2 Super Bowls and has won a Super Bowl.